For those blissfully unaware, RuneScape is actually quite active on socials with banger posts like these. And let's be nice here, posts like these.
Wow, this place is amazing. There's a waterfall. They have a waterfall. My God, marketplaces, we love marketplaces.
Ooh, a windmill.
Yeah, I don't think this really worked for your adult audience, but I guess kudos for trying. However, recently, they asked everyone for their most unpopular opinion, and I thought it'd be a good idea to go over them and see what people think about the game. What can go wrong? Before I start criticizing anyone else's opinions and hot takes, let me share the one I commented myself. If you are against the Road to Restoration changes, it's time to find a different game. I actually wholeheartedly believe that, by the way, that's not rage bait. Whilst not everything has been perfect, daily challenges still being there, and of course, the initial thieving balancing being out of whack regarding AFK after they changed the early game, which they fixed by the way, the direction RuneScape is going in is exactly what I want to see from the game, and if that's not for you, that's fine, but maybe RuneScape isn't for you then. Because in my opinion, what the Road to Restoration is doing is creating a game that rewards you for putting in time and effort into building your account, and it being exactly what I want out of the game I fell in love with, because that is the part I like the most about the game. Like the actual reward for putting in the time, and not the cheap dopamine free XP farm it turned into. Okay, now that everyone is pissed off at me, let's look at some other people's hot takes and opinions. We start off at Twitter, and the first one that I saw was of a good friend of mine, Rubiecta. RuneScape needs a prestige system for skill since 200 mil is outdated. No. Just no. We don't need an extra experience gap from 200 mil onwards. 200 mil is already a lot of experience. There's only a few thousand people who have 200 mil all, which is still a lot of people, but regardless of that fact, it's over, bro. Like, you've completed the game. You've done everything. We don't need more. I think it will just create an unhealthy environment where people will just keep on grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. Like, at some point, it's enough. It's over. Like, you can play a different game. Trust me, it's okay. This next post comes in from SexyBeast420. You should absolutely like this video and subscribe to help Chev achieve the goal of 15k subscribers. Honestly, this is not even a hot take. I 100% agree with this. This next one comes in from Shroudy. Yak Track should come back. Whilst I don't think Yak Track was really offensive. For those who don't know, it was pretty much RuneScape's battle pass, and especially the final iteration before we got the horrendous battle pass in the hero pass. Yak Track pretty much just made you skill, and then you passively got rewards moving forward to like rank 50 or 100. I don't really remember what it went to. And it was okay. It gave you some free cosmetics. It gave you some, well, at the time, proteins and dummies for free. And it was alright, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a direction to do on your account when you didn't really know what to do. Like, it generally really helped me train up some of my skills when I was going for 120 all, because one day I had to do construction, then I had to do fletching, then I had to do whatever. But overall, I don't really think battle passes are that great, because it just once again promotes you having to grind and FOMO and having to go out of your way to do it. But if they are going to bring something like Yak Track back because it is financially needed or something, or people really enjoy it, at least do it like how Helldivers 2 does it, where if you missed a Yak Track in this case, or a battle pass, you can do it later on, and you can always complete previously available Yak Tracks or battle passes or whatever the hell you want to call them. But in my opinion, we don't really need it back. Let's just make the game better and actually enjoyable, so that playing the game is the best way to progress. One Small Favor was a great quest, but it was too short and deserves a sequel that's much longer and grander in scale. Whilst I think One Small Favor isn't really that bad of a quest, especially in RuneScape, where you have lodestones and all sorts of teleports and pretty much infinite run energy, having to go from one NPC to another NPC and just talk, because one person just wants a log, but they want a favor, and then they want a favor. It's just not really great quest design. Like, it works for one quest, but if you do a sequel to it, and that's longer and grander in scale, no. And the fact that RuneScape commented hard agree, no. Like, just no, please. Like, we don't need it. EOC was the best thing to ever happen to RuneScape, because we got two different games out of it, each for a different type of player base coming from ASCII. Honestly, Yes and no. Whilst I think it's great that we now have old school RuneScape and RuneScape, I do have to say that when EOC happened, as Will Missit made a whole video on it if you're interested, it nearly killed Jagex and RuneScape as a whole. So, quite frankly, it's not really the best thing to have. Like, it turned out fine, but initially it wasn't that great. And I don't think it is until like the last previous few years that EOC, or the combat system in general in RuneScape, really started feeling like a proper good combat system that is enjoyable to interact with versus what it was for the first few years. So, kind of. Cat comes in with any meaningful changes made to RuneScape 3 are entirely pointless and will not retain any new or returning players unless you add permanent fresh worlds with their own high scores, which is factually untrue. Whilst there is an argument to be made for fresh worlds, I made a whole video on it if you're really interested in a more deep dive on it, but quite frankly, fresh start worlds will also split the community, where we have different servers compared to the main ones. Everyone that already has their long-standing account, with whether they are max, trim, comp, whatever the hell they have, or even if you're just average level 70 stats and you have a full-time job and you're just happy that you are finally in the mid-game and can play it, you will alienate pretty much all those players. Like, you will pretty much alienate all the actual casual players, because the real hardcore players like myself will just move over to a fresh world and just start over again. And everyone who's casual, which is the majority of the audience, will just kind of sit there and be like, yeah, but I don't really want to start over. I don't really have the time to start over. And it has already been shown by the data that Jagex has shared of the first 4 months that the game is growing by just the changes they are doing. Still have to see how that works out across the entire year, but clearly whatever they're doing is working. So no, I don't think Fresh Start Worlds is something we do need at the moment, but maybe as a last-ditch effort, but definitely not anytime soon. This next one from KemiArm007, reviving the Wilderness PvP will bring RuneScape 3 back. No, no, that is not a good take, my friend. Because, first of all, to bring PvP back, you will have to do a massive overhaul to the combat system that only works in the wilderness, which means that it takes resources away from actually creating relevant content for pieces that are already alive, like PVM or skilling or whatever the hell it might be. And we already are lacking that part in general. Like, we need as much content as we can get because we're getting so many bug fixes and whatever. So everything that can go to the actual main game instead of a niche community is wanted. But on top of that, old school RuneScape is showing that PvP is a hard thing to keep alive. Because in old school, PvP is slowly dying as well because people just don't like to be forced into the wilderness when they don't want to. And the actual PvPers or PKers want some good incentives, which makes a lot of sense, to actually PK and PvP, but they are not really there, so they get artificially created, and it just brings a whole mess. So no, it will not bring RuneScape 3 back, and I think it's just a ship that has sailed, unfortunately, and it's something that will live on in the past. Whilst I do think we could use a cool PvP minigame or something, bringing the Wilderness PvP back is definitely not helping RuneScape. I don't even know if this is a hot take by Kazel, but the less you listen to the RuneScape 3 subreddit, the better the game becomes. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I don't even think I need to argue why, because I made multiple videos criticizing the Reddit, but I think we just need to listen to the actual data and player base that is there actually playing the game. Polls, maybe? I don't know. But the subreddit, definitely not, because everything Jagex does literally doesn't matter. If they do A, they will say B. If they do B, they will say A. So listening to the subreddit will never help. I literally just remove Reddit off my phone because it just pisses me off just every single time I open it. So yes, I agree. I don't even think it's a hot take. I'm going to be honest here. These ones were kind of tame on Twitter. Let's see if Instagram has something more hot. Alir RN, RC needs to add another Elemental Workshop quest. No, Elemental Workshop, whilst it's cool to have all those puzzles, they're just annoying and tedious. No, we don't need it, bro. This next one comes in from A Gaze Eternal. All banned accounts should return to game with bank and items cleared. Fresh start, give everyone a second opportunity. Whilst I think this is fine for the average player that got banned for doing something really stupid, after a while, getting your account back with everything cleared is fine. I think that's alright. But the majority of accounts that do get banned are bot accounts. So you are also just bringing back a lot of bot accounts that the botters will just have some sort of system for, because that is probably what's going to happen. And then they will just realize, oh yeah, all of these accounts are unbanned, and we could just bump them up again and then start a bot farm again. So whilst I think it is great for all the real people that get banned because they made a silly mistake in the past, I think it's a terrible idea to do so when you consider all the bots that will also get unbanned and just all the bot farms that get cleared again because they already had the stats, so they don't have to train up new accounts that can possibly already get caught before they ever start to affect the economy. Instead, these are all accounts that are probably already ready to bot the game to doom. So no, not a good idea. Bobby Dang on Instagram says, I think allowing third parties to sell GP or items is better for the game. Members, I understand Jagex has to make money, but similar in ways to WoW, allowing people to spend money for in-game currency or items from a third party is going to help the game survive rather than hurt it. Honestly, I would love to have some context behind this. Like, bro, allowing other people to undersell Jagex, because you could technically already buy GP directly by buying bonds through Jagex in general, but it just takes away more money, and making it legal will also pretty much promote botting even more because people are, wanting to make money out of it. So you pretty much validate botting in a way, and you also validate just people playing the game to sell everything they do for money and create a very unhealthy atmosphere. And in general, I don't think that is just really a good idea. Like, this just causes so many issues. I could see so many people getting hacked over this or banned or whatever it might be. No, this will definitely hurt the game and not help it survive, bro. Bobby Whirlwind comes in with the take of, there was nothing wrong with auras. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with having an hour timer that you had to play by, that you could only really earn once a year to get the full aura, and it was definitely not bad that a lot of content was balanced around it, so that, for example, you couldn't really do Croesus unless you had the aura active, or no one would really want to go with you. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, no. No, it definitely wasn't bad. It's definitely not better if we could just unlock all these passive buffs that are now in the game, or that are just through progression in the skill in itself. No, auras were definitely better, bro. That was sarcasm, by the way, for those who don't get it. We're back to Twitter for a final few ones. Preflex comes in with the take of, if Havenite Part 2 also doesn't bring in any player count growth, everyone supporting the road to restoration needs to put on trial for what they have done to the future of this game. Whilst I do think Havenite Part 2 is very important to the game and it needs to start showing some growth, because Havenite Part 1, unfortunately, if you watch my breakdown on it, but I will show it on screen right now, didn't bring in any player count growth. So he definitely is right on that part. However, I do also want to say that the Road to Restoration and Havenite are two completely different entities. Havenite was developed before the Road to Restoration even existed and has nothing to do with it in general. And the Road to Restoration actually has shown some growth potential on its own. So whilst I think it is semi-true, I don't think supporting Road to Restoration and Havenite Part 2 not showing growth doesn't really go hand in hand. Like, the Road to Restoration is the separate entity and it's doing its thing and it's working. So yes, the lovely eloquent silence comes in with, wings are amazing cosmetics. No. Absolutely love you, my friend, but no. No, they are horrible. They have nothing to do with RuneScape. Get rid of them. And that's it for the semi-hot takes that people posted. Honestly, I was quite disappointed. I read a few of the comments before recording it, but everything else was just a genuine live reaction. And everything was kind of tame in my opinion. Sure, there were some really outraged things that I don't want to show on YouTube because they're just plain out rude and hate. But overall, everything else about the game was kind of meh, I guess. But what is your hot take? If I get enough comments on this video, I might make a follow-up one just going off the hot takes on my video alone, because I generally really did enjoy doing this. I hope you did so too. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and my name's Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video.